Weekly, GarageBand, GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly. Need an answer to your question. John, you'll have a suggestion. He's a fountain of all knowledge. I think he might have gone to GarageBand College. What he doesn't know, we'll try and find out. So join the chat and give him a shout. Hey, John. Hey, John. GarageBand Weekly.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to GarageBand Weekly for yet another week. This is our weekly live show all about GarageBand, except at the moment we're in the middle of a project. We're working on a track in GarageBand iOS. This is it. We'll be showing you a little more about that, and we'll be recording some guitars today. Yes, it's guitar tracking day, which means we're going to sit down. The guitars are sitting over there just out of shot, and we'll be recording those on this show. However, we are interactive, and I am always happy to answer any questions and to rant and to chat about GarageBand with you folks. So if you do have questions, please just throw a Q or a big question in caps if possible. I know it's the one time I'll give you permission to use all caps, but just make sure that I can see your question if you have questions about anything to do with GarageBand. Before we get started, we are brought to you today by my GarageBand FAQ. Yes, if you jump on over to studiolive.today.com/GarageBand, this is what you get. You'll be affronted with the GarageBand iOS FAQ. You can check out my $10 course if you're brand new to GarageBand. It's a great way to get started. 5 hours of curated content ready to rock and roll. We've got a bunch of playlists here with a heap of free videos. I recommend this one, GarageBand iOS Essentials. That'll get you started with all the things you need to know about GarageBand, the communities, GarageBand users Facebook group, create, record, release, and the Discord. And then we have our comprehensive alphabetized guide with every question. So if you're like, I've always wanted to know about EQ, just scroll on down and check out my EQ video there, and it will give you a quick answer there as well about how you can EQ in GarageBand. So I thank me for supporting myself, but I also thank you, kind folks, for being here and for hanging out here. So let's say g'day to the fine folks who have joined us here live. Hello, Mark Bro. Yes, we missed you over the weekend. Welcome on back here. Hello to our wonderful Thomas Christ, le moderateur extraordinaire. Don't know why I'm speaking French or sort of French. G'day, Tommy Jack. Hello to you. G'day, Joseph Henry. Hello, Princess LDG. Darren Anderson. How you going, Ando? Up there in Queensland. Have a Bundy for me, mate. On a Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. Yeah, good stuff. G'day, Jade Star. Hello to everybody. I'll just make sure I've covered everyone. I've said g'day to everyone who's here in the live chat. I think that's covered it. Yeah, we got plenty of GarageBand stuff going your way. Many vibes is present and lurking underneath the covers. What? I've got a bit of energy today. It's my Friday night. If you ever wonder why GarageBand Weekly is usually a high energy show, it's because I'm pumped up from the weekend, and this is like the end of my work week because I then usually take a day or two off and hang out. So hello, Fat Panda Cat as well. Alrighty. So today we're set up. I'm ready to rock and roll and record some guitars. But a couple of people asked me after the last few shows, they're like, Johns, you don't show your setup. We see things coming this way. We don't see what's in front of you. So I thought, let's actually show what I'm recording with, what I'm using to record, and the setup that I have here. So I'm going to cross live now to Past Pete to explain to you and to show you the setup that I'm using here. So I'll be back in a jiffy. Take it away, Past Pete. Thanks, Future Pete. Past Pete here. This is the setup I use here. I've got my iPad Pro 2020, the non-M1 or M2 version here, but it still does the job. I've got this through a USB-C to USB-A adapter. This is the genuine Apple one, but you don't need to use the genuine one. I've just got a bunch of these, so I use this one here. It's got USB and HDMI there. The HDMI is what means that when I'm live streaming, we can actually have this up here via OBS. Now, all of this is connected to this, the 10 DAC powered USB hub. This is the charger port, and this goes directly into here. Now, this could go into the pass-through of your adapter. I just happen to have the additional power port on the Magic Keyboard, so I use that. And into the powered hub, I've got a couple of things plugged, but the most important one is this, my Steinberg UR22C, which is awfully dusty. Oh dear. So I've got my guitar plugged in here. I can set my input gain here, And the output of this is actually going into my mixer. So I've got this into channels 5 and 6 of my mixer. That's how we can hear what's going on here on the show. So the important thing there is if you're recording guitars, you don't need all this. If you've got a iPad Pro with a USB-C, all you need is some sort of device that either connects up directly via USB-C or uses a powered hub, and then you can connect that up via your either USB-C to USB adapter or a Lightning to USB adapter. Back to you, Future Pete. Thanks, Past Pete. That was Past Pete there, giving us the lowdown on the setup that we're using here today. Meanwhile, I got my guitar ready to rock and roll, and we're going to jump in and get started. But yes, good point there from Thomas Chrissy. Thomas is a better marketer of my own content and material than I am. So if you are in the market for any of that gear, you're looking to buy an iPad or an audio interface or a powered USB hub or any of the stuff I recommend, that's where you go. Studio Gear Guide is at studiolive today.com/gear. Hello to a few folks who have jumped on in here. G'day to Gregory O'Sullivan. I saw Ben D. Bendover. Hello to you. And hello to Mateus Prakowski, who we played on YML. Yeah, we had a great YML this week. Very, very cool. Currently starting with that kind of setup on iPhone 12 mini. Yeah. And don't forget, if you're using an iPhone or a Lightning-based iPad, you can do all the same stuff except the HDMI. So one thing that you can't do with Lightning-based is have the video output. But if you're just recording for yourself, really doesn't matter. But if you want to connect up, you just need something like, I just put it away. Hang on. Always have that handy still for your iPhone. It's the Lightning to USB 3 adapter. And they are like $40. They're not cheap, but you need them. Don't you hate that? You're paying the Apple tax, Johns. Yeah, I am. I can't pay the Android tax because you can't record on Android. Oh no, I just offended 4 people. Wow, feisty today. Talking very quickly today. I'll calm things down. Although it is a punk song, so maybe I don't need to calm things down too much. Hey, all right. Let's review where we're up to, and then I'll let you know what we're doing here today. So, in the past 4 episodes, we wrote this song. We recorded a demo of this song, and then we wrote some lyrics for this song. So, at this stage, we've got a demo version with drums, 3 guitar parts, a bass part. Let's just move the bass down there. So, 3 guitar parts, a bass part. We recorded our lead vocals in there. We had a bit of a synth idea that didn't quite work out, and that's where we're at now. So, this is the starting point where we're jumping off from here. Today, we are going to track our guitars. So, we're going to try and and look, it's punk, so we don't have to spend all the time making it perfect and pristine, but we are going to record in our guitar parts. Now, the first thing we need to do is work out exactly what we're going to record, so we'll go through that in a sec in terms of the rhythm guitar and the lead guitar and the bass guitar, and we'll talk through some of that stuff, and then we're going to crack on and actually record it, and I'll show you some of the techniques and tactics that I use to do that. So let's listen to the song, and I'll give you a bit of a rundown so far. So it opens up here with a little drum fill, and then kicks into our intro with the rhythm guitars and the lead guitars and everything doing its thing. So let's turn up our mic, turn up our gain here for the iPad, and let's take a listen in case you are just joining us and haven't been following along.
All my life I've worried about the things in the water I cannot see. Got this panic washing over me. I have a fear of what might sting and what those...
You need a microphone to talk, Johns. That's the idea of our basics. Intro there and our first verse there. We then kick into a chorus, which is a variation on that pattern.
Oh, what's in the water? And I don't know if I'll sink or swim.
Which a lot of you folks helped me with the lyric writing last week. So this is definitely a co-written collaborative effort. We then have verse 2, which is very similar to the first verse there. And what I need to do is work out if I use a different pattern for the strumming, because I did a couple of sort of ideas of patterns for strumming here, which we'll talk about in a sec. We then have a second chorus, which does the same thing, but has it double the length. And we've then got a guitar solo, because I don't solo very often, but it's a fun thing to do. And this song sort of felt like it needed a solo. So this is the section that jumps into the solo.
To dive in. Yeah!
So it's basically just the verse again. So the whole verse section there. And then you folks helped me write this big final double chorus here. So what it does is it goes through a chorus, and then it's chopped here at the moment, but we need to fix it in today's show. It's chopped at the moment where it does it, and then it has like a false end, and then kicks on with a like super high energy second half of the chorus. So let's just take a little listen.
To dive in. Nobody knows what's in the water. Nobody knows who's gonna win.
And then we close out and go out with a bang with something. A big finale there. So that's it. It's a pretty classic punk song. What do we got? Verse, chorus, solo, chorus. Like, there's not much of a more typical punk rock progression and song structure than that. But I think it's coming together. I like it. And again, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm having a lot of fun with this. In previous ones, I've tried different styles and things, and people are like, bro, that's not rock enough, or that's not, what did I do one time? Synthwave. They're like, oh, well, actually, anytime you start with, well, actually, you're kind of losing it. But, well, actually, synthwave actually requires you to do blah, 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 blah. It's like, whatever, man, whatever. So I'm doing punk. And the good thing about punk is, the attitude of punk is, it's whatever you want it to be, man, bro. It's whatever. Punk is whatever. Punk is a lifestyle. Punk is a state of mind. Yeah, and that's a good point, Thomas. Maybe we'll play around with like a whole bar, like, and bring it right back in, because I do want to put a pick scrape. So we're going to experiment and do some pick scraping there as well. G'day, Joe and Barry Glenn, by the way. Hello, Tremor Bear. G'day to Rena. Rena here. Hello, Rena. That's a punk tune, right? Case in point. Yeah, case in point. No, don't stress about genres, folks. It's going to be fine. All right, so we have ourselves our guitar set up. So what I want to do is we are going to record in, and I'm going to use the same tones for now, but we're going to we can experiment with tones later. But while I'm recording, while I've got everything set up, the tones are about where I want them to be. So I'm not gonna overthink that one. So what we'll do is we'll duplicate out this track, so that we've got our first track here of drums, and at the moment, so this is the first guitar, the first rhythm guitar we're doing. Now, the one question mark I have here is that on the first guitar, for the first verse, I used this progression. Which I kind of like. The second time I did that same progression, I did this. Which I didn't like as much. So I'm actually going to go with this version here. Maybe that version becomes a alternative that we do maybe in a second verse or something like that. We'll see how we go. This is a good thing. You know, you don't know. The song will tell me what it wants. It'll talk to me. Man, my song's talking to me, bro. All right, so we're going to set up to record here. We've got our guitar set here. Now, the first thing you need to do, make sure that when you're recording a guitar, that you are not clipping your input gain. You remember that little video I showed you? There was a little red light there that comes on when your guitar is too loud. And as I'm strumming it here, trust me, that little red light's coming on. So I'm just going to turn my input gain down a little bit, go a half a turn down. I'm really low on the input gain here, and you'll be surprised at how low you need to record an electric guitar, because you don't want to clip it. You can turn it up, like distort the crap out of it once it's in there, but don't distort it on the way in. Otherwise, you're going to get that harsh digital clipping, which you're not going to be able to get rid of. So let's come in here, and we'll include this into our... Now, to record, this was on the left and this one was on the right, but I like to record things where I put it back down the middle. We can then do the wall of guitars later. So double tap's going to bring it right to the middle, and now... Yeah, so I reckon we go with for the first half of the verse, we do the... And then the second half we do the... So that's what we're going to experiment with here. So let's get ourselves set up now. I'm going to bring my dummy track. Hey dummy. I'm going to bring our dummy track up here and pop it just under these ones and make sure that this dummy track. So if you're not sure what I'm doing here, and I'll take a step back. If I hit record right now, what it's going to do is jump over to here, and I'm going to have this view while I'm recording. That's not going to help me because I'm not going to be able to see what's going on. So if we go back to my track view, I use a little workaround here, which is to have this dummy track. So if we come into this dummy track, we just need to make sure that this one is on channel 1, like so. And then this will record nothing because I've got nothing plugged into that first input you saw. But if we have this and then hit the record on this dummy track, it's going to give us the ability to have that there. So I'm going to actually mute out the original guitar, and we're just going to play this along, and this is going to be our first guide track. Whoop. A little bit of cooler. All right, so let's just listen to it through this first and make sure I know what I'm doing. All right, I think we're good. So we're doing doing the 2 thing, and then the 1 at the start with then the muted chords afterwards. All right, let's give this a go and start tracking these guitars. All right, so there's our first point where I need to change things up. I'm just going to turn my my backing vocal, my track up a little bit here, and we also need a little bit more on these drums so that we can hear them in my speakers as I'm going along here. So we got to there. Let's just have a listen back. All right, so when we come back in here to this verse, we need to go back to the... Yeah. All right. All right. So here's a good thing. We can chop in here and we can record over this. So the beauty part of non-destructive editing is I can play this, record this back from the start of the chorus, and we can just jump in whenever we want to, and then we can fix it afterwards. So one thing where you can fix it in the mix. So let's try this now. That transition is hard. Okay, we'll try that one again because I've got to go like that. All right, we've got to do the one thing. All right, let's try this one again. Big final chorus. Alrighty. Oh man, this is going to take it out of me. I've been practicing all morning and my fingers are sore. I should have not. I should have left it all for here so that there was nothing left in the tank. But that's all right. So that's pretty much where it's at. Now, a happy little accident, as Bob Ross would say. The second time around here in the verse, I actually changed the progression. So the previous progression went to there. But this time I went back down to the F in the second verse. I'll leave it for now. We'll see how it goes. The other thing you might have noticed there, and this is a tip for your final chorus to get it sounding a bit different. You might have noticed there that when I was playing those power chords in the final chorus, I was letting the next string actually ring out there. So your traditional power chord's either 2 notes or 3 notes. And to try and create a little bit more energy in that last chorus, I kind of hit that top string. So we'll see if that works in the mix, but a little bit of experimentation. I hope you enjoyed that, because guess what? You get to listen to me do it all over again. I'm going to do things a bit differently this time. I'm going to turn off my mic, because you would have been hearing the little bit of the feedback there, and you would have been hearing my my breathing and stuff. So and a little bit of the string sort of twanging. So for the second guitar, actually we can safely remove this first guitar, because I've actually, before I started this, I'll just show you. We'll exit out of here. Before I started this, there was version 2, that was last week's, and we're now in version 3. So I'm going to jump here into version 3 and come in here and have a look at this. Yes, a bit of punk. Goats really reminds me of the band Descendants. Yeah, a few people have said different bands that Goats reminded me of. But hello Dan Ekberg. Hope you're doing well, my friend. So we're now going to do this guitar. So we'll bring this one into the mix, and we'll go ahead and duplicate this out. Now, this is a different kind of guitar tone that we had from the first one. Equally as cool, but a little more, like if you compare that to the original tone that we had with this guitar. It's a little less upfront and present, so we'll play around with that here. So we're going to mute out the original version there, because we don't need that no more. In fact, what we're going to do, we're going to delete that original version, because I'm happy with this progression, and there's nothing we've got in the first one that we don't have in this second one. The other thing we wanted to do before we go too far, let me just show you that editing technique here, because we jumped back in here, and you'll notice here that where it's going to transition here is not going to sound good. Because what we need to do is actually bring this old version up to here, because we then jump back into that there. So our cut point should actually be at that stoppage in there. And if we zoom in a little bit, you can see there that it'll actually stop there. So let's take a listen to this. It should sound okay. There you go. All right, so we're good to go. We can start tracking our second one. Whoop. I always do that, don't I? Around about this time, I always go too high. There's got to be a way to disable that function. I should do it. All right, let's come down here and grab our dummy and move the dummy down below here, just so that we can know where we're at. This is the track we'll be recording. We'll move this back to the center, double tap. We'll lower the volume of the original guitar, but we'll leave it there as a guide track to record along to. And we'll be recording this track here. We'll come out of there. And yeah, we're pretty much good to go. right, we'll turn this one on up. And this time we're going to see if we can be a one-take wonder and go all the way through this one in, well, one take. So I'm going to turn off my mic here, and you're just going to be listening to the dulcet tones of the Epiphone and the GarageBand punk rock guitar amp sim. Let's give this a crack, shall we? What did we do wrong? We didn't enable our dummy. You always got to enable your dummies, folks. Don't be a dummy. Enable your dummy. All right, come back out here. All right, so all we did there that we didn't do is hit that button. So that way, it's recording this track, but it's also going to have that track recording as a dummy. So I'll put my mic down. Let's try this again. All right, my volume was a little bit too loud. This guitar is a bit more aggressive than I first thought. So I'm going to drop the volume on that one and try it again. Because I've got to remember to transition into that riff where it's like the one for the first half of the verse. So let's try it. Didn't do that verse. Same spot I didn't transition well last time. So we're going to have the same cut in the same area. So let's just come back to the chorus and try this again. So it's looking okay. You can notice here that you're on a kind of a good thing when your waveforms kind of match up and are kind of in the same spot. So when you're doubling it to guitar, it should look kind of similar. Thank you, Princess LDG. Needs feedback. Yeah, look, we can change up the tones to give it some more wailing feedback. Definitely needs a pick scrape too. The one thing I did notice here as I was going through is I didn't change that second verse. So I'll need to redo this again because if you remember, we actually changed this one. We changed this one to be. So what we're going to do is re-record this second verse while we've got the guitar out and cranking. So we'll come back to the chorus. So we'll re-record it over the top of this. All right, let's crack on and do this again. All right, so we can pause there. Just gonna put the guitar down for a jiffy. Don't worry, guitar will be back. We've got to do lead, but we're gonna get our rhythm down, and hopefully, when we pull these together and we do a little bit of editing here, this is all going to come together. So let's edit our transition point again, like we did before. Again, non-destructive editing, which means we got complete control. So there's a little stop, which gives us a nice point to change between. Let's just listen to these two guitars between here. Yeah. I think we're good. But then we need to find a good transition point here because I didn't keep playing that. So we need to transition here into the chorus. So we'll just see if we can get that there and that there. Let's find a non-crunchy transition point here. That's actually pretty smooth. Sometimes you'd be surprised how smooth it is if you just go, let's just solo this one guitar. Virtually nothing, like a small speed bump. And that's the thing. Especially with electric guitars, you don't get the clicks and pops you get with vocals and acoustics and other instruments. So I'm reasonably happy with that. So let's get rid of... Going to get rid of the original guitar of that one. So these are our two guitars and this is our click track drums. Let's just get these happening. Cool. So just to get a little bit of that wall of guitar sound, let's go one to the left and one to the right, and then it should sound even cooler and wider and grander. Crunchy, bro. Cool. And hello to you, Kim Hudson, by the way. Kim was just asking, and I know every time I explain this, I kind of rush over it. So just in case, and look, many of you have seen me do this before, but if you haven't and you're not sure why I do the dummy track, here's the difference. Is if I was recording without a dummy track and I hit the record button, I record in this screen view. So I can't see where I am at within my track. I'll just stop that. Can't see where I'm at within my track. I've just got this view of the amp. I don't need to see that when I'm recording. What I like to see when I'm recording is this screen, my track view. So in order to get the track view, what you need to do is if you've got a 2-channel interface, you set your first channel like this one, which is the guitar. So this one is set to channel 2, which is where the guitar's plugged in. And then I set up another audio track just underneath it that is set to channel 1. So this audio track, this dummy track here, if we come in here, is set to channel 1. Just monitor it off, doesn't matter, it's just recording nothingness, but it thinks we're recording 2 tracks. So we're going to go with that. All right. So that's our rhythm guitar parts. So we've decided on the chord progression. It has changed slightly. So why don't we jump over to my document. Now, if you haven't seen this before, Thomas Christ says I'm the most, he says organized, I would say anal, person when it comes to documenting my songs. So if we jump over here, this is my OneNote document, and this is my little chord chart. So I've cleaned it up a little bit and fixed it here. So what we need to do is so this one so in the second verse it actually drops down to an F here. It goes F F G G instead of C C G G. So it's kind of cool because I did want some variation. You always want to vary up your first and second verses if you can, and vary up your choruses for sure. That's why at the end, the final chorus is not only double in length, it has that cool stop, it's going to have a bunch of lead over the top of it, and it's when you hear me playing it, I was introducing that third one. Question, if you wanted a third guitar, would you pick a third tone? Generally, yeah. So there's a couple of options with that, usually, because you kind of want to have, if you're going a wall of guitar sound, you want them all to sound different. If 2 sound the same, you're going to be unbalanced, because with a third guitar, if you were tripling a guitar, you would put one in the left, one the right, one down the middle, and if you had like 2 tones left and right and then a different tone in the middle, that's okay. Obviously, it'll sound really weird if you put 1 tone left and center and another tone down the middle. Sorry, 1 tone left and center and the other tone on the right. So yeah, you'd probably select a third tone if that were the case. In fact, you know what? Why don't we try that? Because I really dig this lead tone that we got here. So why don't I do let's do some additional rhythm guitar. Sorry, I just said we're done with rhythm guitar, but I kind of want a third rhythm guitar just to play around with. So let's do some quick track naming here to make sure that we're cool. And we'll come in here and we'll rename this one. So this one's going to be rhythm git left. And this one's going to be rhythm git right. Rename it. Rhythm, oh, not punk rock rhythm. Rhythm git left. All right. Let's save. Boom, 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 boom. Come back into this version 3 that we've been playing with. So we've saved those ones out. Let's get rid of this one that we're not using now, just for cleanliness. So we know these are our 2 tracks there. There's our Domi. And I'm actually going to use the lead guitar tone. This was a DRI tone that we put in Tonebridge. That was Jade Starr's suggestion, and it sounds awesome. And I reckon we can use a variation of this tone as a centered guitar for the wall of guitar. But we'll go with that. I know you were saying you might go with the auto drums for this, but I'd love to send me the project. Yeah, look, you know how lazy I am, Jay. That'll probably end up happening for next time. And maybe what I can do, actually, that'd be a cool idea. Maybe for next week's show, Jade, I send you this project, you do some drums, I then do the auto drummer the way I would do it, and then we'll throw your drums in and do like if you don't mind. It won't be a competitive thing, but you know what I mean, just to compare to see what you can do with auto drums versus what you can do. And yeah, we'll see how we go. Let me know, folks. All right, so we've got this tone here. Let's grab the guitar back now that I've got rid of it. Let's turn it on. You'll already hear the feedback. So what I'm thinking this one can do when we change up the progression. So for the first half of the chorus, first half of the verses, just have those 2 and then bring in the... Maybe even go up. I'll try it low down and then we'll try it high up and we'll see what works. We don't want to step on the vocals or the lead guitars too much, but I just thought a third guitar here, not to be too greedy, might actually sound cool. So we'll do the same thing here. We'll set that, and let's just experiment a little bit here with this. I'm going to turn off my mic and let's record this and see how it goes. So nothing here. Just bring it in with those two guitars. And the first half of the verse, and then maybe like a downward motion here. Let's try this. I reckon with the second half, we could bring it in like this. All right, I like the idea. Let's just try that again because it didn't quite execute the way I thought. Let it ring out there for a little bit, and then wait for the second half of the verse again and bring back in the muted chords. Leave space here for the lead solo. Alright, just getting prepared for this final big chorus. I don't know. It might not work, but that's the joy. The joy of this stuff is that you just try it and see what sticks. Throw it at the wall, see what sticks. And obviously, if we need to bring the volume of this one down a little bit to sit in the mix here. But let's just bring it in here with the first couple. So here's where our lead guitar is doing this, remember? Yeah, it just adds that guts, doesn't it, to the second half. And it just rings out there. You can hear me talking over the top of it. Don't talk over the top. You notice that even when you're using a pickup and even when you're using a direct input, don't talk too loudly. Otherwise, it's going to pick it up. It's called a pickup for a reason, folks. It's picking up the noise from the strings, but if you talk loudly enough, your guitar will pick up your vocals. Trust me on this one. I've done it a bunch of times where I'm like, where did that word come from? Oh, yeah, the pickup on my electric guitar. All right, so that's pretty nice. So now we've got a third rhythm guitar. Let's just rename this one to Rhythm Guitar Center. And what do you reckon? Should we do lead or bass? Lead now or bass? What would you like to hear? What should we vary it up with? Rhythm guitar. Let me know here in the chat if you're here live while I clunkily get this named Rhythm Guitar Center. All right, so we've got our wall of guitars. We've got our left guitar there. We've got our right guitar. We've got our centered guitar. We've got our drum track providing the engine room and the metronome at this stage. We've then got this lead guitar part and a lead solo part that we need to now focus on, as well as bass. We've got a couple of bass. Yeah, let's move it up. Let's change it up with some bass. All right, we'll unplug the les. Oh, God. Plug in the bass. Oh, hit yourself in the face with the bass. So I need a trusty assistance. All right, let's bass it up. So the bass riff for this, because it's punk, was a tone like this. We just use this vintage grit tone for now. All right, let's see if I can remember how to play this. I'll play along for a sec. Pretty simple. It basically follows the guitars, doesn't it? All right. I think we're good. I think we'll be able to play along with this. Now, what I'll need to do here is my input gain, again, that you can't see here. I should have got a second camera. My input gain at the moment is about 10 o'clock. So it's very low because I was using the electric guitar. The bass, as you can probably hear, doesn't have as much. And you can see there on the input gain, on the little input meter there, if you come over to here, you'll see it better because you've got your input. No, you don't. Why don't we have an input level on this? GarageBand, fix your metering. All right, we'll have to have it out here. But I'm going to need to turn this up because if I record it at that level, nothing's coming through. So I'm going to turn it up to, let's go to 12 o'clock. I'm going to have to, well, actually, that's good feedback. I don't want it for this, but I do want some feedback on the electric for the lead. We'll have to play around with it. All right, so it's probably a little bit too loud now, so we're going to drop it down to about 11:30 on the meter. So we're not clipping, which is good, and we're hitting around 50 to 60% on that meter, which is where we want to be in a digital environment. All right. Why do you have two rhythm left guitars when one should be rhythm white? Great question. Probably because I labeled it wrong. Let's find out. Yep, I labeled it wrong. See, this is why it's great to do this stuff live. You should always record in front of a live studio audience so that people can correct your mistakes. Let's save in that one and come back out, and we'll be good. All right, let's cue this one up. So let's grab our bass guitar, and we've got our dummy track, but the dummy track just below it. We'll duplicate out that original bass. Duplicate. We'll do that. Mute out the original. Let's just mute out those two, and mute out the vocals still, and mute out that. All right. So I think we're good. We can record in. Let's just do a quick rough take of these bass. So I think it's pretty simple. All right. We need to monitor. Click our monitor button on. So that's going to be the opening. Let's record it in, sucker. All right, dummy track, also recording. Hit the record button. Let's try this. All right, so I'm going to undo all that. We need to turn. We need to turn that monitoring off for a sec. We need to turn down. We need to turn up the bass so we can hear that better when we're recording. And we need to turn down these guitars a little bit because they're a little bit loud over the top. Make sure we've got plenty of drum so that we can hit the groove there. I've got a feeling that I might have messed up here in the verse and done a different version in one guitar than the other. Let's just take a quick listen. It doesn't sound terrible though. I think one's doing the F and one's doing the C. But it sounds alright. I think I confused myself. Oh well. We'll stick with it. We can always redo it afterwards or cut and paste. We'll see. All right. Let's come in here. All right. So now. Okay. All right. Let's try this. Let's do it again. Do it again. So I'm just going to try that end bit again. I've got a question for you though. Should I do that? Yes. Last time, this middle section where we do the lead guitar part, I don't know that I don't know if I like it anymore. Where the bass does this part. What do you reckon? Should it do that? Should it do the lead part, or should it just do like? I think I might replace that. We'll try it. We'll try it another way here. I'll come back to here and we'll re-record over that. I'm going to try it slightly more. So yeah, Cold Acre says keep it simple. I think I might just do a slight variation with a few like diddle, just a few flourishes, but let the lead guitar do the talking through here, I reckon. Okay. Then I'm going to go with something like that. Let's just try it again because I wasn't in the right spot at the right time. I got too fancy. All right, let's just try and play it from about here. All right. Jade's got a good point, which is maybe at there it needs to go an octave up. So why don't we leave that there? We'll duplicate out and we'll try it in this part an octave up. So because at the moment it's down there. So what if we do try that for this solo part? So we'll come here to the solo. We'll use a second bass track here. We'll make this, have that on there, and we will make sure we're recording our dummy. So let's just fiddle about, have a faff about with this for a section. What do you reckon? Let's just take the original bass out of there and listen to the bit where I was actually doing it properly. I'll record it in as an alternative. That way, it's there if I want to try it that way. So we'll come right back here to the start of the solo. We'll delete out that bit, and then so we come in. Whoop, we come in here through this bit. All right, I think it can probably do something like that, can't it? All right. So let's bring the original bass back in here, and we'll just play along for here. All right, so what we want to do is we want to just like... All right, we'll give this a go. All right, undo that. Where is the solo? There it is. There's the solo. So. All right, we're just going to go in with a da-da-da. All right. We're almost there. I mean, yeah. I think we've got some stuff there to work with. All right. And this is the thing. When you're tracking, get your ideas out of your head, because sometimes you think, oh, I know exactly what it's going to be, and then you play around with it for a while, and it's something slightly different. So, Yeah, we'll go with it for now. And yeah, look, the tones are going to have to change. The bass at the moment is too loud and doesn't has too much treble, so we need to do some EQing on that bass sound because it is too loud and too high end, especially when you go up onto those higher notes. It's probably got a little bit too much fuzz in it, to be honest. It needs a bit of fuzz because I like that punk fuzz bass tone, but it might have a bit too much. All right, I'll put the bass down for a jiffy. Put the bass down for a jiffy and come back on over here. Let's just put together a bass line that's going to hold together at least for the whole song. So the start here, we've got our... So I think I did those little intro bits, but I think we might even want no bass for the start here. I think we might just want it to kick in here with the... So maybe like just from there, like with the... All right, let's just see if it comes through and makes sense over here. Okay, so we want to keep these two parts here as ideas, but we want it to switch between this and this. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop these two to this other track and put these ones up here. So you've got to be kind of careful doing this. In fact, it's probably going to be, no, it's going to be too hard. So I'm going to use another technique here, which I don't recommend, but I use it, which is to put these to 0 dB for now. There's no indication that they're at 0 dB, so I'll be wondering later why they're not there, but just for the time being, because I want it to switch over to this one, I'm going to do this. Once I've made my final decision, I'll just call it, but just forget that these exist. But the problem is, if I delete them, they're going to go away, and even though non-destructive audio means you can move things and stretch things out, as soon as you delete an entire chunk of audio, it's gone, and it ain't coming back. So we'll do this way for now. So what it'll do is you'll notice here over on the left, it's going to be playing on this one, and then it's going to shift over to this one for the rest of the track. That octave up definitely works better, doesn't it? Why is it still playing this? Didn't I turn that down? Oh, because it doesn't... See, I used to think... I thought that was 0 gain, but it's still playing it quietly in the background, isn't it? Which is so weird. Because there should be a way to mute it out by just turning the volume down. But I guess not. So we're going to have to use a different technique here. All right. Look, we need an extra track here. So we'll just put these back to here. I was wondering why I was hearing both. So we'll just need to create yet another duplicate track and just hide these. Oh, don't do that. Don't move it to the side. That's a trick that a lot of people fall for, is that as soon as you're doing this, if you don't go directly down, everything gets out of time. All right. So we'll put these down onto a muted track now so that we can use both of these tracks for the two different types. All right, that was muted. That one's back in. All right, so cool. So this one is just the variation of that one. We'll move it up to there. We'll save our track, and I think we've got a bit of a bass sound. I think we're coming along. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, look, it's at this point, sometimes you get frustrated because you're like, oh man, I did a thing and then it didn't sound as good as I thought it was and it's not working. Keep going, push through it, because I've been going for an hour and 10 now, and I'll do another half an hour here of lead guitar. Then I'm going to walk away, and then I'm going to come back to this later today, because you need to let your ears rest. I'll probably come back and go, my goodness, what was I thinking with that bass part? Oh my God, I didn't need that third guitar in there, whatever it is. But just put it down and leave it there for now, and then you can come back and play with it later. And if you've got two different ways, then it gives you just that additional option. You don't have to then come and re-record everything because you've already captured your second idea. Anyway, that's my way of doing it. Your way may vary. Your mileage may vary. Lead guitar time. It's time for John's least proficient skill, which is playing lead guitar. So let's grab a guitar and my guitar cable, and we'll plug in. Yep. As Thomas Christ says, let it simmer. Like a good soup, just let it simmer for a while and see how it goes and see what spices you may need to add later. Blah, 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 analogy. All right. Let's come in here and get a lead guitar going on. So here is the lead guitar that we originally had, and it sounded like this. So I quite like that riff, but I think we can do it better. We then come in here. And then let it kind of just float through the chorus there. So what I'm going to do, I'm doing this a little bit differently this time. So I've got my lead guitar, the second one here, which... Why is that not working? Why am I not plugged in here? This one got the wrong input. No, channel 2. Channel 2 input. There it is. What was I doing wrong? Nothing. All right. So that's actually the extra lead guitar we already have there. So let's add another channel here, and I'll just play this part again. All right, it's because I got that solo, isn't it? All right. So we'll bring this in with the rest of the track. All right, then let it hold out. So let's just practice this part. We're going to have to do it with the slides a little bit more there. I know, right? Should do a harmony solo. Jade, you know my skill set, mate. A single note's going to be hard enough. But yeah, maybe the solo itself, we'll experiment. You know what? Let's try it, because I don't think I've ever done a harmony solo in anything ever. But let's try and record in a version of this. All right, from there to there. Okay. One, two. Forgot to turn off the original solo there. Undo it. Come back to it. I don't need that to distract me. Let's try that again. Nearly. Nearly. Try it again. And no, I'm not buying a new Mac. Nearly, just that last bit. I got to do those quick slides and we'll get there. We'll get there, folks. I'll start a little bit harder. Completely the wrong note. Oh. Started that way too late. Hang on, come back. I should use my dummy track again. I'm a dummy. All right, I need to mute out my OG solo there so that I'm not playing along with that. I think that's sort of in the ballpark of what I was looking for here. Let's see. Brian, it was almost accidental harmony lead solo there, Jade. All right. Let's try this again. In fact, you know what we'll do? We'll do a separate solo track here so that I can just focus in and hear the rest of it as I come into this part. So we'll come here. Not quite. You know the other problem I have here? What didn't I do, folks? What did I say that I should do that I didn't do before I started recording this guitar? And why is it sounding way crunchier than it should? And why do I need to do all of this again? Actually, that bit's okay, because I was playing quiet. Let's just listen to this. I'm going to leave it there for now, but you can see here that when I'm trying to play this solo, it's way too loud. So I'm going to turn down the input gain back to that 10 o'clock because I was clipping my signal big time there. So we'll delete out that solo attempt. So the solo was going to... We'll experiment. Come on. Shall I get my O face, my guitar solo, tongue hanging out, doing all the biz? I have no shame. Sorry if you came here expecting shame. All right, let's try it. Let's do this thing. Hey, Bubba. The first half was so good, and then it just went to shit. All right, so we're going to stick that for now. It didn't quite stick the landing there, but we'll be fine. Alrighty. Yes, there'll be some work off the stream because you know what? Not quite as relaxing when you're doing this all live in front of a camera. So, and I can't quite make my favourite solo faces without feeling too foolish. No, not true. I don't even think about it now. I just do my thing. All right. Yeah, let's do that for this last chorus here. We'll try that whole bit again, but we've got some ideas there that might work here. Yeah. Mike and Dawn says it's time to tune. You're right. I've definitely got a bung. So where's the G string, isn't it? Yes, thank you. Thank you for the tuning advice. Sometimes you got to tune it up, buttercup. All right, now where we are, let's come back here. So there's our solo. We'll delete that out. And we'll do our final lead part. Ready? Cool. Not quite. Try it again. All right, so I definitely, it's okay for the first half. I'll just redo the second half. All right, so after the stop. Except the last note was totally wrong. Let's try that one more time with feeling. That'll do, pig. That'll do. And that's all he said. All right. So let's just bring this up to the right spot. And I'm going to try, I'm going to have one little play with one final thing here, and then I'm going to bring it all together. Have I been recording on the wrong second track at some point? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's come in here and... Is this a solo? So the... Is that going to work as a harmonized solo? So I don't know about the solo, but I reckon it can come in here at the end for the big final second chorus. Yeah, I reckon it's going to be that. No, 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 no. Maybe-ish, sort of. All right. Guitar's unplugged with the monitoring left on. Not what you usually want to do. Doorbell rings. Ding dong. Who is it? My girl's best friend to pay me a visit. Trying tight dressed and all. Didn't have to go. Oh my God. Didn't realize my girl sent me out. Oh my God. No, not the baby. Said kill baby. Didn't make you open. All right. Bossed it. That was nothing sensical. Oh, Florida and the Rangers are starting. Flames versus Rangers. All right. Well, that means usually at this time of the day on Tuesday morning, when the Rangers are playing, it means Johns has to finish up the show. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put together a rough mix of this whole thing. I'm going to do a little bit of labeling. But firstly, we're going to close. And we're going to reopen like this. So we can pull this all together. So let's do let's go through and name these tracks first and foremost. Thank you. Yeah, I reckon the harmony. I think I'm going to play around with that off camera with some harmony. Because I reckon the solo can probably actually be simpler, Jade. If it had a harmony part, it could pretty much just be doing that riff a little bit more. It doesn't kind of have to go nuts. It can be simple. Sometimes the simple things are best. All right. So let's just work out what all these things are. So there's our rhythm guitars. I'm happy with those. The lead guitar now, we can get rid of this last version. That's still in our last track, so don't worry, it's not going away forever. That's our lead guitar track. This one is our lead solo track, which will come in here. We will rename this to lead git solo. And then this down here is that the lead harmony. So we'll just call this track lead harmony, shall we? Rename it lead git hardy har. What was this track? Was this an old one? This is a weird lead guitar idea I had before, which we didn't actually play around with here. I'm not going to lose it yet because I kind of liked it at the end. So I'm just going to rename this lead guitar idea, and we're going to mute it out though because we won't put it into this version. There's my original OG bass, which we're going to get rid of because we've replaced it. Goodbye. And we've now got this bass here with this one as the first ending, and then this one. So let's rename these bass. Rename bass, and then this one is going to be the bass ending high. So we'll rename this one to bass end high. And look, this is annoying. I don't like doing this either. You probably don't either. But rename this one to bass end low. But it does help you. I promise you. When you get to the point where you're actually doing all this stuff and you're mixing, you want to know what all these are. All right, so let's come back in here. Now I'm going to do a quick faders down here because these are all at different volumes and recorded at different levels and all sorts of jazz here. So we're going to go faders down on this one, and then all the tracks that are non-muted we will bring in. So let's bring our bass actually. Let's bring the bass up under the drums. That's where I usually like to stick my bass. And the other bass ideas. Wish you could multi-select tracks in GarageBand. It's one of the things I don't appreciate. Bring this one up here as well. Hope you're doing well. You're going to have a rockin' week of music. I hope you're going to create music this week, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Make some music. Go on. All right, so we'll bring the drums in here. Turn that down. Let's just build out a little bit of a mix here. Let's bring in the bass. Make sure it works down here. I really like that. I like that going up the octave to make it different. Alright, let's bring our guitars in. Here's our rhythm on the... Actually, we'll bring our middle rhythm in first, now that we've got it. Alright, bring our left rhythm in. And our right. And what you'll hear there is that as we bring this one in, it's much louder than the left one because of the tones that we've chosen there, which you could go in and tweak them and make it that one, or you can just use your sliders here, which is what we're going to do. So let's just balance these. That seems good. That center just adding to it. All right, let's bring in our lead guitar part that we just redid here. which we can get rid of the front of that we don't need there. And let's try this. Do we need that bass? We might need that bass in at the start. Yeah, I think we do. Right, let's go through to our final chorus and make sure it's all sitting together still. So the lead guitar here needs to be louder at the start, but then it needs to come down. So we're going to do a split here, and we're actually going to drop it here by around about quite a bit, about 8 dB, because it just needs to kind of sit in the background of these parts. Maybe even more. Is that clip gain doing anything? Am I imagining this, or is that not doing anything? Hang on, let's just try this again. We'll do it in the loud part down here. You know what it's doing? This is weird. This used to be, it's gain, and I know that you can say, well, yeah, it's gain for the guitar, but it used to just be volume. You used to be able to use this as volume control, but it looks as though that's changed now to actually control the gain of the guitar amp, unless I just haven't used, no, because it's not even a guitar amp, it's an audio, oh no, it is a guitar amp. No, it's not, it's an audio track. All right, I'm confused with that. I'm gonna have to go back into the lab and work that out. For now, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna split this out. Duplicate, and then bring this one into its own separate track. But that's bizarre, because that's not how that used to work before, at least in my memory. But I am getting old, so who knows, man? Who knows? All right, bring this up here. So we'll just have the lead guitar split over 2 tracks so that we can have one a little lower than the other, and then that'll work. So let's come down to the end here. Yeah, so I thought, because obviously there's the FX trick that we can use here where we use the EQ for the volume slider, but this I've always used clip gain here, because it didn't work. Remember, it didn't work before on the bass. It just dropped it. It just changed the tone. It didn't change the volume, which is weird. So I don't know. Maybe it's an iOS 16 thing. Yet another weird little bug of GarageBand, but go figure. I don't use it that much, but clip gain is actually it's good to use. I'll just have to use automation once we get to that point where I need to actually do the mixing. All right, let's bring the vocals back in, shall we? And see. The sharks will bring. Maybe I'll be safer on the shore. 'Cause I don't know what's in the water. And I don't know if I'll sink or swim. Talking heads on the news today and telling me what to think and say. Some people won't come back from down below. On reflection, my memories are always making a fool of me. But I'm learning to ebb and flow with the tide. 'Cause I don't know. All right, I really don't like this vocal tone. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually go back to the drawing board with this. I'm going to come in here And I'm going to put this onto maybe the Punchy Presence to start with, because this has some delay built in, which I quite like, and the reverb as well, just to give me somewhere to start. It's got this tape delay on here and the stereo delay, which can kind of sound cool. Worry about the things in the water I cannot see. Got this panic washing over me. It's just a little bit more punchy, because hence the name. I have a fear of what might sting and what those circling sharks will bring. Maybe I'll be safer on the shore, 'cause I don't know what's in the water, and I don't know if I'll sink or swim. And obviously I'll re-record these vocals. Talking heads on the news today and telling me what to think and say. It just sounds a bit better, yeah. Some people will come back from down below. On reflection, my memories are always making a fool of me. All right. A little bit more compression on there, and then we're close to where we want to be. I would use a very basic compressor. All right, so thank you everyone for hanging out here today. We accomplished pretty much what I wanted to do. I wanted to get, the verse could, I definitely want to add some more drive back in, because I took that out, didn't I? In fact, let's just add the overdrive back into that vocal, because I don't need it to be perfect yet, but just so that it can have close to the sound we're going to want to get in the end. Come in here, plug as an EQ. Do we have a slot? We have a slot where we can put our distortion. Not distortion, we wanted overdrive, didn't we? Overdrive, which is just a little bit less intense distortion, and we'll put it up on the tone a bit. See. But I'm learning to ebb and flow with the tide, 'cause I don't know what's in the water. A little loud now. And I don't know if I can win. There might be more under the surface. Cool. Joseph Henry. So we do a bunch of live shows around here. If you're new to the channel, we do GarageBand Weekly every week, every Tuesday morning or Monday afternoon or evening, depending where you are in the world. We also do other shows. So the podcast, I record that live Friday mornings, Australian time, Thursday afternoon, evening. And then we do the happy hour on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday night. And also Your Music Live, which is my live independent music show. We do that every week too. So if you're new around here, and anyone else, if you're new around here, you can go over to studiolive.today.com and follow me on all the places, and you'll get well and truly updated with everything's going on. Alrighty, that is indeed going to do it though for this week's episode. I'm going to we're going to go out by taking a listen to the very first very rough mix of the demo recording here of Sink or Swim, and we'll be back again next week to check out and check in on some drums, because the drums need to be done. So I'll work with Jay during the week, and we'll see if Jay wants to do some drums on this. Who am I to say? Who am I to refuse? But let's take a listen to this one. I'm going to turn my mic down, but I do want to say thank you. If you had some fun here, hit the thumbs up, guns up button. If you liked watching my weird lead guitar faces as we recorded this one, a little thumbs up helps as well. All right, I'll see you folks next time. Remember, keep creating. Be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, and keep creating. Bye for now. All my life I've worried about the things in the water I cannot see. Got this panic washing over me. I have a fear of what might sting and what those circling sharks will bring. Maybe I'll be safer on the shore, 'cause I don't know what's in the water, and I don't know if I'll sink or swim. Talking heads on the news today and telling me what to think and say. Some people won't come back from down below. On reflection, my memories are always making a fool of me. But I'm learning to ebb and flow with the tide, 'cause I don't know what's in the water, and I don't know if I can win. There might be more under the surface, but it's time to dive in. Yeah! 'Cause I don't know what's in the water, and I don't know if I can win. There might be more under the surface, but it's time to dive in. Nobody knows what's in the water, and nobody knows who's gonna win. So I'm gonna just keep on floating, even though I might sink or swim. Da 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 da. Later, players.